Hello and welcome to the Breaktime VIP group. I'm Sabrina Schottenhamel, licensed massage therapist and speaker. And today we have a guest speaker, Victoria Dorsano. She's now married and she's finally changed her name.
Woo! Yay!
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, what's funny is I just realized I don't think I did this to my Zoom. I think Zoom did it once I updated Facebook. It's kind of
Oh,
creepy.
yeah, right?
That's really interesting. I'm like, oh yeah, my Zoom name's updated. That's weird. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it depends on how you log in and how it's connected because you've probably gone live on Facebook with your Zoom account, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's probably what happened, just to keep the names alive.
Facebook is connected to everything these
Oh
days.
my gosh, yes, that's for sure. So Victoria is our guest speaker for today, and we're gonna try to keep it around 20 minutes. And she is going to speak on oh no, or what is it?
H2O no.
Oh, there you go. Oh no, H2O or whatever you just said.
H2O no.
Oh no, there you go. Kept flipping it in my mind for some reason.
It's way more fun than like dihydrogen monoxide. We used to say that all the time in college when we wanted to sound smart. Like, oh, we're drinking dihydrogen monoxide. It's like, yeah, no, that's just water, guys.
Well, I will let you take it away and jump right into your topic for the day.
Cool, cool. All right. And I able, can you allow me to screen share if possible?
Oh yes, how do I do that again? Do I do more? No. That is
I forget. I don't know if you have to make me the host to do that or if there's another function that you can just allow participant to screen share.
Let me find that. Oh, here. I think I go to you, make you a co-host. And I think that can allow you to share.
Awesome.
Right?
Let's see. Yay. Okay, cool. All right. There we go. Everyone should see some nice water. Got one nice water over there. Cool. All right. So I know this is going to be a lot of information. So it'll be good that this will be posted later so you guys can review because I want to keep this short and sweet and not bore you to death with all the details. But there's a lot of cool stuff in here, I promise. And I promise I won't get too sciencey either. I have a tendency to do that. But I thought this was really important. So Sabrina, you came into my group and this was something that I presented in my Health Hive group because I was looking into figuring out a good water filter for my system. And I was like, where do I start? So I did a lot of research, and I mean like hours of research trying to figure out the right water filter for my home. Because if I was going to invest in a water filter, I wanted to make sure that it was going to be something that was effective for my particular type of water that I have. And it led me down this rabbit hole of learning something new, which was that we all have different contaminants in our water, and we all need different types of water filters. So I will go into that today. So just a little background. In the last 20 years, the EPA, so the Environmental Protection Agency, has not added any new contaminants or toxic chemicals to their Safe Drinking Water Act. So there's so many new chemicals that we've added into, cosmetics and other processes, manufacturing, and all these things that run off into our water supply that have not been added into the EPA's Safe Drinking Water Act. Super important. So chromium-6 is one. The PFAS, which is a very long substance name, so fluoroalkyl substances. So those are just two of the main ones that have been added into our drinking water as a byproduct of new processes and different chemicals that we're using in modern manufacturing. The other scary thing is there's no legal limit set for more than 160 of these unregulated contaminants in the US tap water system. So for some other chemicals, the EPA's maximum contaminant levels haven't even been updated in the past 50 years. We've had so much research happen in the human body and what we are able to tolerate in our system and what we're not. And we haven't applied that. At least the EPA has not applied that. So the Environmental Working Group took that under their wing to then create a site based on this. So EWG, that's where a lot of the information today is going to be based off of. So EWG to the rescue. The scientists at the Environmental Working Group started to go through a lot of the latest research and all these chemicals that were newly created and different contaminants that they're finding in the water. And they started to sort out which ones are really harmful to our health, which ones are not, which ones needed to have certain types of regulations around them. So it's just, they are an amazing site. If you haven't checked out the Environmental Working Group site, there's so much information on there. It's fantastic. Aside from even water, they have a lot of other information on there about best practices for even keeping contaminants out of your home, chemicals out of your home, and all that sort of stuff. So in the name of time, I'm going to skip past this slide, but it just gives you some more facts about what the EWG is doing and how they are testing the water now currently. So they have found some major categories of things that's in our water. There's VOCs, which are volatile organic chemicals. And these are pesticides, herbicides, other chemicals like this. And they are found in most municipal water sources and even in well water and other sources of water due to agricultural runoff and contamination. So VOCs can really do a lot of damage to our reproductive system, our liver, our kidneys, a lot of our metabolic function. So that's something to keep in mind. Heavy metals, and I don't want to be all doom and gloom about this because water is water. It's just a matter of being smart about how you are consuming your water and what you can do to make it better. Heavy metals are something that's also something we want to be cautious of. Lead and mercury have been found in several water sources and linked to several health problems. A lot of endocrine disrupting chemicals. So our endocrine system manages a lot of our hormones in our body. So these chemicals can mimic different hormones or interfere with the normal process of hormones in our body, and hormones control a lot, a lot in our body. And I'm not just talking about female hormones. I'm talking about cortisol as a hormone. I'm talking about, thyroid hormone, all these other things that we all need, both male and female, in our bodies to work well in like a well-oiled machine. These disruptors come in and they disrupt that normal flow of hormone messaging. Fluoride is something that's added into our water often to help with teeth, really, is what a lot of the research is. I mean, we have fluoride infused toothpaste, but we're not drinking our toothpaste. We're drinking the water with fluoride in it, which is something to look into. And fluoride's been linked to a lot of thyroid problems in the long run, especially when consumed internally, which we are in our water. So how to learn and educate yourself about what's in your water in particular. So tap water suppliers publish, and this is what I found out through doing all this research, but they publish their quality tests online. Now, Sabrina, I think might have been you that mentioned you get yours directly sent to a report, correct? Sent to your home each year?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that is something that some municipalities do, some don't. Some you have to actually go in and ask them to do. You have to go onto your town's water quality site. If you just Google, like, wherever you are, like Lisle water quality site or whatever it might be, it'll pop up, or the town village of Lisle. You'll be able to find some information about how to request those documents, but you can also find them online too at any point in time. So the vast majority of bottled water companies don't actually have to report their water quality test. That's a little scary, but your municipal tap water systems do. So you can read your annual tap water quality report and what they found. And the EWG put together a database of all recent tap water reports. And I'll go through that and show you how that works in a bit. So step 2, after you find out exactly what's in your tap water, what contaminants are particularly in your town's tap water, you can choose a filter to remove those particular contaminants. Now, each type of filter, there's different types of filters that filter out different things. And we'll go through that once I go to the EWG site, and I'll show you on the screen share. But, there's carbon filters, which are like either pitcher or tap mounted. The pitchers, most familiar brand is Brita, and they're affordable, and they reduce a lot of common water contaminants like lead and byproducts and kind of those larger particles, but they don't treat a lot of the smaller particles. There's a lot of other things that are able, like the VOCs can get through, a lot of the endocrine disruptors can get through, so they don't catch everything. They're only able to catch those larger particle things. The best option you can get is something that's like a reverse osmosis filter or a carbon block filter, solid carbon block filter, which we're going to talk about. So there's carbon filters, which is different than a solid carbon block filter. Carbon filters normally are like the pitchers, and they have a film of carbon particles that catch and filter through those larger contaminants, whereas solid carbon block actually filters through more because the water has to travel through a whole block of carbon. And I'll show you an example of one of those brands that I like the best too. But the best, like the highest tier, is a reverse osmosis filter. That removes the most, but it is a little bit more expensive. It goes under the sink most often. And it really removes a lot of things that carbon filters cannot, like arsenic, rocket fuel chemicals, which are, believe it or not, are in our water, some towns' water. And here's a little screen that shows you some different options here. So I'm a huge fan of the Berkey. That's my goal, is to own one of those. So I decided after all this research, I'm saving up to get a Berkey because right now I'm renting, so it doesn't make sense for me to have something installed underneath my sink. So a Berkey is great. As you can see, it sits on your counter. This is a solid block carbon filter. It'll filter out most things that you need it to stay healthy. A lot of people get this travel size Berkey and they bring it with them on camping trips, and they actually filter out river water to be able to drink. They have several videos on that. But Berkey is a great brand. You know, it's between $200 and $400, depending on the size that you want. The under sink reverse osmosis filter, again, it can range in pricing, and that is the best option you can get. That, and obviously the even higher quality version of that, which is a 14-step multi-stage filter with UV lights and all that. Now that runs a significant price, but if you are in a home and you know you're going to be there for a while, having this installed is well worth it. It passes through 14 stages of filtration on top of UV light, and it pretty much gets rid of and remineralizes on top of it all of your water. It gets rid of the contaminants and remineralizes all the things that you do need in your water that are important. Now, people always ask, why can't I just drink distilled water? So great question. It would make sense, right? But there are naturally occurring minerals and different kinds of things that we need in the water, you know, sodium and trace minerals like zinc, magnesium, all these things that are naturally in our groundwater. We need those minerals back into the water. So it actually does you more harm to drink distilled water without minerals in it, because it's actually, to balance out the water, it's going to leach your body, and it's going to actually pull minerals from your body to be able to utilize the water. So don't do distilled water unless you plan on remineralizing it yourself. But in terms of filters, some great options here. So step 3 is making sure, aside from being able to filter your water at home, making sure that you have solutions when you're on the go. Plastic water bottles can leach a lot of harmful chemicals into the water themselves, and a lot of people tend to reuse those plastic water bottles and refill them over time, and they're not meant to do that. The plastic is unstable, and it'll actually continue to leach more and more of the chemicals from the plastic into the water. So carrying a stainless steel or a shatterproof glass bottle is great. I have a stainless steel one that I use a lot. It has a nice little straw piece on it. Oh, I can't, my background's not letting me show it to you guys, but it's here. I know, Sabrina, you probably have something similar that's either glass or stainless steel or aluminum. So making sure that you have that option with you on the go is super important. And even if, I know Brita has bottles now that have a little carbon filter film in it as well, or a stick in it. So that's a great option as well. Just making sure you change those filters though, if you do use that bottle. So something to consider there. And a little bit more about why not bottled water, because everyone's like, well, it's just plastic, it can't be that bad. Well, the water itself, like I mentioned earlier, water bottle companies they don't necessarily need to report their water quality, which is scary. Most of them don't report their water quality. So when the EWG tested several water bottle companies, water from the water bottle companies, poured it out and tested it, they found prescription medication residue, they found disinfectants, bacteria, a lot of nasty stuff. And they have that all listed on their site if you want to check that out. Plastic leaching. So like I mentioned, it leaches a lot of plastics. There's 80 additional chemicals that can leach into water from the plastic itself. It produces a lot of trash. 32% of the PET plastic bottles were recycled in 2014, which means about 70% were not. That's not great. And then wasted energy. It takes a lot of energy to really make these and produce the plastics for the water bottles. So I wanted to show you guys a picture, and this is sad to me, but this is actually, it exists. If you look it up on Google, it's called the Pacific Garbage Patch, and it is a giant landmass of garbage. A lot of this is water bottles. A lot of this is plastics. A lot of this is stuff that, those plastic water bottles that are just floating in here due to the currents that kind of get pocketed in those two arenas here. You'll see where they have a Western garbage patch and an Eastern garbage patch. And it's estimated to be about the size of Texas floating around in the water. So that's another reason for no plastic water bottle. So that is not our solution. Solution is to get a good filter. Now, really quick, because I know I'm coming up on that 20-minute mark pretty soon, I want to show you guys. So let me do an escape out of that full screen. And I believe, Sabrina, are you seeing a nice big white screen now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to pull up some of those links here. So I'll pull those up onto that screen in a second. So first, let's start at the EWG's database. I'm going to grab that link. And then I'm going to put my window over here. Paste. And go. All right. So let's go ahead. Sabrina, what's your zip code? We'll do your water.
60517.
Okay. So do you know which of these is your, and this is the tricky part sometimes, guys. So just, you need to figure out where exactly your water is coming from. It's most often going to be this first.
Yeah, I think it's that one.
The DuPage Water Commission. Most often it's the top one that comes up. I don't know why it separates it out by these municipalities. I don't know if this serves all of these. I haven't quite figured that out yet, but what I've looked into is usually it's that first link up top. So there's 12 that exceed the EWG's health guidelines, 20 contaminants total. It'll tell you exactly what contaminants were detected and what levels. You can look at the details. It tells you the potential health effect of each of these chemicals. This one's pretty common across the board in most water. And if you look at that in details, so it tells you it's formed when chlorine or other disinfectants are used to treat water. So this is a water treatment byproduct through the process of the municipality trying to treat the water and make it clean. Sometimes what they use to clean it with is the chemical itself is unstable and it breaks apart into separate chemicals. And those chemicals themselves are the harmful things when they are unstable and broken apart. So this is one of those. And it tells you a little bit about them, where the sources are. So it says pollution sources, a treatment byproduct, the filtering options to get rid of this, what works. So a Brita would work great for that. So then, yeah, you have all these chemicals here, but if you go down, let's see, it'll tell you, this is wonderful, of all those chemicals that you found, what each of these is able to filter out. So like I said, we didn't really go over ion exchange too much because as you can tell, it doesn't filter out as much as you'd like it to. And you can tell that reverse osmosis does. So these are the ones to focus on, mostly the ones that are above the health guidelines that you see in this chart. You can see that activated carbon gets out some of them, but not all, whereas reverse osmosis gets rid of all of them. So this is great to look at. And then you can look at these individually if you're curious what the health effects are these. Like, let's say you have a Brita and you want to measure kind of your risk assessment of what these could potentially cause you. You can then go back and refer back up to these chemicals here. So super, super helpful, guys. And then what I was mentioning in step 2 that I wanted to show you is, let's find out where that link was. I believe it was filter contaminants out. And it'll tell you about all different options of filters, what carbon filters does, what a reverse osmosis system does, and all of those things. If you want to remove specific contaminants, how to do that. So this site is fantastic. It's the EWG. Again, the first site I went to was the ewg.org /tap water. And you'll be able to get to that site where you are able to enter in your zip code. So that's pretty much it, guys. This was kind of what the rabbit hole that I went down trying to search for a filter. Go figure, I got real deep into it and ended up making a teaching topic out of it. But that's what we do. We do our own research, we figure out what's healthy for us, we share that knowledge with you guys. And I hope that helped in you guys being able to assess what's in your water, learn a little bit more about the process, and learn how to filter out what's particularly in your unique water. So that is all I have. Do you have any questions, Sabrina? Anything I forgot to cover?
No, but since I heard your first talk about this water, and showing us the EWG website, since you did that, I signed up for their website or their email list, and I started receiving emails, and they send you emails, I don't know, probably every day, but a few different times a week, or when something comes out, like in the news, about a chemical that they're using on plants or they put in your water. And they'll ask you to take a survey on it. And then, of course, at the end of the survey, because they are not funded by, I guess, the big guy, that they ask for donations. So, of course, then I started donating, and I donated to their holiday switch out box or something. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, I saw that.
So I got that the other day, and they had a bunch of products, like instead of using a plastic throwaway container or a Ziploc baggie, they sent you a silicone one. And it's almost like you can put your food in there and you can like sous vide it. Have you heard of sous vide?
Oh yeah.
So you can actually cook in the bag. You can store it, you can freeze it, you can put it in the dishwasher and wash it. So they sent a bunch of different, because you donated, they sent you a bunch of different items to switch out. And then also lists of like the clean foods to eat that you can, that you have to eat organic. And then also the foods that they're the clean foods that you can, the clean foods that you can buy that are not organic, like broccoli, I think it's cabbage. There's a few others on the list. So they gave you like the clean and the dirty list. And like the dirty list means they spray it highly. So they must be organic, like strawberries, grapes, those kind of things. So they're trying to get the knowledge out there and trying to ban some of these bad chemicals with the government, because certain countries already have these chemicals banned, but we in the United States are still absorbing them, which is terrible.
Yeah, a lot of European countries actually they get on board with banning things like glyphosate and all these things that we're still using in our processes,
Mm-hmm.
obviously because there's some wealthy industries involved that have financial interests in them. But yeah, I find they make the information really digestible. I don't know if you found that too. It's very digestible. It's not sensationalized. They do back up all their claims. Like that's something I'm really passionate about, guys. So don't worry about going on that site and being fed stuff that's like biased. I've checked it out. They heavily research not only themselves but through third parties that are unbiased as well of all the topics that they're bringing up. So it's legit. It's a great site to check out. And those healthy swap boxes are super cool. So if you do donate, you get the opportunity to have one of those healthy swap boxes where you get some different products where they will show you some alternatives. I saw that and I was like, oh, this looks awesome. So thank you for reminding me to sign up for that, because that was something I was interested in as well.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah, so thank you so much, Victoria, for being the guest speaker for the VIPs. And I just want to say to our Breaktime members and the VIP members that this is one of the perks of being a VIP member. Is one of the many perks of being a VIP member of the Breaktime group is you get a guest speaker. And I'm so grateful for you today, and I wish that more people were on so we could be more interactive, but that's okay. So we are going to post the recording, and if you have any questions for Victoria, of course, you can post them in the comments, and I look forward to seeing you on our next group call and then our next guest speaker, which I don't have them scheduled at the moment, but very soon. And of course, I'll be hosting them from sunny Arizona in the month of December.
It sounds so nice
So
right now.
I'm very excited. Yeah, especially since we woke up to snow here in Chicago. Again, thank you and have a great day.
Thanks, Sabrina. Take care, everyone.
Bye.